welcome to my living room floor, where I have currently got an air mattress set up for reasons, but that's where we're starting this vlog. So the Scotiabank Giller Prize long list was announced today. That is a book award for Canadian authors. It's a Canadian-based award, and it's one that I've had fleeting interest in over the last few years, but haven't paid a ton of attention to. In fact, I didn't even know the long list was being announced today until I went to a news site and saw that it had been, and I thought, oh, well, let's see what books are put up and have I heard of any of them. I have heard of one of them. That's not true. I had heard of a couple. I've only read one. And to be fair, I did not even know that this woman was a Canadian author, but it is Birnam Wood by Eleanor Catton. And she is a New Zealand author, but she was born in Canada. Kind of an interesting little tidbit. And I have a whole video on that book when I read it a few months ago, so I'm not going to go too much into it right now, but it's not my favorite. And it's also kind of surprising. I think what speaks volumes is it hasn't been nominated for a ton of awards this year, I don't believe. And so I think that right there says a little bit about the reception of this book. However, she is obviously a very well-known Canadian author. The Luminaries was a hit, and I know people have been waiting a long time for her second book in Birnam Wood, so I'm not at all surprised that it was nominated. So 12 books have been nominated for this award, and I have already looked at my library to see which ones I can get my hands on. It's not a lot. I think I can get 2 immediately in ebook form, and 1 I was able to put on hold, and it should come in pretty quickly. I don't think anybody was in line ahead of me. We're going to do a little mini reading vlog where I try to read at least those 2 that I have and whatever else I get up to in the next 24 hours or so. It's Wednesday. My husband is away for work for the week, so I am home alone. I've got no plans at all. I'm probably just gonna hunker down and do some pretty chill reading, do some working out, maybe get out for a walk or something, but that is the plan. Anyways, let's talk through some of these books really quickly, the 12 that were nominated. We have Away from the Dead by David Bergen, which is one that I have heard about, but I don't know a lot about it. I think that's going to be kind of just the overall statement for all of these books that I've heard of but don't know much about. Study for Obedience by Sarah Bernstein. This one was recently nominated for the Booker Prize, so it's clearly got a little bit of hype going into it. It's one that I am not able to get my hands on. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. We will see. Birnam Wood by Eleanor Catton. Again, I have lots of thoughts on that book. The Double Life of Benson Yu by Kevin Chong. I actually have this one. It is one that I'm going to attempt to read over the next day because I was able to get it out. The Clarion by Nina Junik. Again, this is one that I've heard of very briefly, but I'm not able to get it from the library. It's not available. We Meant Well by Iram Shazia Hassan. Don't know. The Islands by Dion Irving. This is another one that I've been able to get from the library, and I have in fact read 2 of the stories out of it. It's a short story collection. That's one other interesting thing about the Giller Prize is it encompasses, I think, a whole bunch of different writings. It's not strictly long form novel or short or poetry. I think any sort of Canadian published book in whatever the time frame is eligible for this award. I'm not totally confident in that statement, but because there is both long form fiction and short story collections in this, it's clearly got a little bit more breadth in what you're able to submit for this award. So I'm not a huge fan of short story collections typically. However, the 2 that I've read were entertaining enough, so we shall see how that goes. I started a 3rd, but then took a break. Wait Softly Brother by Catherine Quatenbrauer. So there we go. The Rooftop Garden by Manaka Raman Wilms, another one that I have never heard of. All the Color in the World by C.S. Richardson. I have heard of this one, and in fact, I swear I recognize the cover of this, although maybe it's another book that I'm remembering. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get it at the library, so I'm not really sure if that is in fact true. We Have Never Lived on Earth by Cassia Van Scher. It's got a really interesting cover, and I believe this is also a short story collection. And then finally, Girlfriend on Mars by Deborah Willis, which is one that I'm actually going to be able to get. It is the physical book that is coming to me in the next couple of days. And I have no idea really what it's about. I saw this list and I just started typing them into the different library databases I have access to see if any were available anywhere. And like I said, 3 so far is all I've been able to get. But we will see as time goes if I'm able to find them anywhere else or how that will play out. Either way, this is going to be a pretty chill little reading vlog, and I'm excited about it because I am just excited to sit down and do some reading. So why don't you come along with me? Update number 1. I am pretty far into The Island by Dion Irving, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It's the first short story collection I've read that so far I've had a good time, and that speaks volumes because I have tried many a short story collection before and they're just never really my favorite. But this one is, none of the stories are connected, none of the characters are connected, and every story is definitely got its own premise. However, there's very much an overarching theme of finding home and finding yourself in all of these stories, just finding the place where you can be and trying to understand what that is. And I'm really enjoying that. The writing is really consistent through all of it. So I'm wondering if by the end I'll be able to really differentiate every story, because while the characters are all different, because it is the same author doing it, there's definitely some overlap in just theme and tone and that sort of thing, which I imagine is to be expected out of a short story collection. But like I said, I'm having a pretty good time reading it. So that is a win so far. What's going to happen now? I think I'm going to go grab a drink from Starbucks and take myself out for a walk because I'm feeling the need to get out of the house for a little bit. And there is a park not too far from here that I've never been to before, and I think I'm going to go check it out. So maybe I will insert some footage of me doing said walk, but then come back and finish up my book. We're back. I was able to do a little bit more reading at the park, which was lovely. I was the only person there. Bonus points in my books. I don't know that it's going to be much of a running park because the trails were quite bumpy. Like they're maintained, but there are a lot of roots and stuff. And I have had more than my fair share of high ankle sprains, and I don't really need to repeat that. So I'm not sure I'll be able to run there, but really nice little spot to go for a walk, have a coffee. I tried the new, well, I don't know if it's new, but I tried the Starbucks apple crisp oat thing, and I get them half sweet at Starbucks because drinks are just crazy. There's so much sugar, just too much. Half sweet was still too sweet. I feel like I could like it, but I just don't know. There's just so much sugar, and I don't generally put sugar in my coffee, so it was a very decadent little treat, and now I feel like I need something salty to counterbalance that. Anyways, I am going to do some more reading, so let's have ourselves a lovely little rest of the afternoon. like dinner. I actually really, really enjoyed this book. It moves quickly, it reads really easily, but there's still some substance to each story. They range in size, probably from about 5 pages. I think the longest was 25 pages, and this is on ebook, so it's based on my text size and stuff. None of them were particularly long, but they all just gave a really good little snippet into somebody's life. And like I said, the overarching theme is certainly home. It's all the characters are in some way connected to Jamaica and what that does to their identity and how they feel about themselves. And when their parents are born in Jamaica, but they are not, it's just a really interesting discussion about identity and finding your place. And I really, really liked it. So there is the first book off of this prize award list that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like I said, I've read one before, but I didn't really love it. And so now I will turn to the next one on the list that I have. I think I'm going to take a bit of a break first. I obviously read that whole book in just a couple of hours. And football premieres tomorrow, or starts tomorrow. The season gets going, and there is a football podcast I would like to watch just about season preview. So I think I'm going to do a puzzle and listen to that, and then have some cereal maybe. I'm quite hungry. I know I said I needed something salty, but now I just think I need food. So gonna have a little snack before dinner and do that before I get going on, what is it, The Life of something Benson. I'll put the cover here so that is the next book that I'm going to get started on. So there we go. Hot drink number three on the day. Possibly gonna have another one after this. I'm not gonna lie, my hands are freezing. So I really just wanted something hot to hold on to. But I have made my way through a pretty good portion of The Double Life of Benson Yu. And I think I'm enjoying it, but it's a confusing book. Like, I had to read the synopsis in order to find out really what the premise of the book was, and that clarified things quite a bit for me. But I'm finding it challenging sometimes. It jumps back and forth, the chapters. Like, I don't always know where in time in the story it's coming from. And so it's just a little bit of work, I feel like, in reading. I'm gonna finish it, I think. It is interesting enough, but for me, it's requiring a lot of, it's requiring a lot of thought to figure out where the plot is with the start of each chapter, and I don't love that. There's also just a lot of like meta-narrative apparently, and I think some of it is just fully going over my head. But the premise is kind of interesting. So I think you're following a boy, Benny, and they live, does it say where they live? It doesn't matter. And Benny ends up under the care of this man, Constantine, who believes he is a reincarnated samurai. And it gets weird. So I'm pretty sure you're following Benny as a kid and as an adult, and how this man, Constantine, really shaped his life. And I think it's going to get kind of sinister because there are some trigger warnings written by the author at the front of this book. And so I'm not really sure where that comes into play, but it's interesting, I think. And I think that's an okay thing. Interesting is fine. I'm not bored. I'm just confused. So we will see how the rest of the book plays out. Like I said, I think I have just over 100 or so pages, and so I should be able to bang that out tonight, and then we'll see, because this was supposed to be about a 24-hour reading vlog, and I started at noon. If I get this done tonight, then that should leave me room to maybe get one more book in, which is sweet. I just don't know which one. Anyways, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's get back and finish out this book. So good. It's Decaf Veranda. And I've only ever found it at Safeway, but definitely worth it. Okay, so what I thought was a timeline with Benny as an adult and as a kid, turns out the adult point of view is somebody totally different. So now I am even more confused. Stand by. Let's see if I sort this out. Quick update. I continue to be confused. I do not understand how this timeline is working at all. We read on. Let's ignore the lighting. It is almost 11 p.m. and I have finished The Double Life of Benson Yu. I am confused. I still don't get it, but I enjoyed it. I think there's a little blurb on the front, and it says this book is a nuanced, complex, and highly original novel, equal parts harrowing and illuminating. And I would agree with that. And I think the nuance part is accurate, but I don't know what it's nuancing. Like, I'm missing something, and I think it's probably a big chunk of why I don't really get this book, but I still enjoyed reading it. Figure that out. It's a very odd place to be, my feelings about this. And so I am glad that I read it, but I think I'm missing something. I'm probably gonna need to like watch some interviews or watch some other people's reviews or something on this one, because I'm feeling a little wanting on this book. But I read it. So there we have that. 2 books done in one day. I am going to watch some YouTube probably and go to bed, and I will keep reading in the morning. What? I have no idea, but it'll be good. So good night for now. It is 8:30, so we have about 3 hours to get through 4 hours to get through a 3rd book in this vlog, and I have picked up Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister. I haven't read anything by this author, I don't think, although Wrong Place, Wrong Time is certainly a book that I have had my eye on. And this one is about a girl, Olivia, goes missing, and the detective, Julia, for some reason, she must know who's involved in some way, because it says that she needs to frame somebody else for this crime, otherwise something happens to her family. I am only about, how far, 26 pages in, so far the investigation is only just getting started. We shall see how it goes, but that is the plan, is to see if I can get this book finished by noon, and that will have been about 24 hours. Wish me luck. Okay, I have 100 pages left, so I thought I would do a little update, and I am liking this book, but there is an incident that this entire book is built around. And to me, it was a little absurd, like a little bit of an, in many cases in thrillers, an overreaction to something that, manifests this massive thriller. And I had to just kind of ignore that is the catalyst for what is propelling this story forward, because I think it's kind of stupid. But I am enjoying everything else. The main character, Julia, I don't really like her. I don't think she's the most likable of characters, but I do think she's still holding the story really well, so that's helpful. And to be honest, what's keeping me going is I actually have no idea how this is going to play out. I don't really know how everything is going to be satisfied, because I don't want to spoil anything, but I just don't know how this is going to end in a satisfactory way. So we'll see how it goes, but it is 11:25 and I have 100 pages left, so I don't think I'm going to get done by noon, but I should be done hopefully by like 12:30. We'll see. It is 12:15 and I finished the book. It wraps up in a weird way, but I think I'm okay with the way it ended. There ends up being a pretty last minute reveal that I was kind of surprised by, which was nice. Obviously, when you look back at the story, you realize it was kind of right there, but I hadn't picked up on it, so I appreciate that. There is a final chapter. This is a little longer than it needed to be. I feel like there were some chapters that definitely could have been cut. But there is a final chapter with two of the more side characters that I don't totally understand, and that is the note that the book ends on. I'm not really sure how I feel about that, but the overall book, not bad. I mean, I read it in what, like 4 hours or something, so clearly it did something right. And it's a thriller, so it'll go on my successful thriller list, which has been growing as of late because I've been working hard trying to find really good thrillers. But I would say overall the last 24 hours have been pretty good. 2 books off of the Giller Prize, the Scotiabank Giller Prize long list, and been a thriller, and a pretty easy reading. It's been a good 24 hours. It is now Thursday, and as I mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier in this vlog, but football kicks off tonight, which makes me very happy because football is the best. And so I'm going to edit this vlog, get it up, and then be able to sit back and chill and enjoy the football. So there we have it. Thanks for sticking around. Please hit that subscribe button or thumbs up. It helps. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.